Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives.
What does it take to develop a leader of leaders? Welcome to Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. And to unpack that particular question this time around is Dennis Dowdell. He is a school bus driver turned entrepreneur who has a team now of what? Thousands, Dennis?
A little over 250,000
De-
people.
okay. Yeah. Little over that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. So he is more than qualified to speak on a topic like this. But Dennis, what does it take to develop a leader of leaders?
Well, I think the first thing we have to realize is just what is a leader. Webster's defines a leader as one who leads. Rather profound, isn't it? But I think really, and that is they lead, and but the idea a lot of people look at leadership as a particular position or a title, but a leader isn't a position or a title. It's a process of performance. We all know people who have a position of leadership, but they're not really leaders. And on the other hand, we know people who don't have the position, but they're a leader everywhere they go. People will follow them.
True.
People look up to them. People respect them. Okay? And so I think that's just vital, just to grasp a hold of that idea of a leader. A leader is somebody who makes an impact. And people like speakers or who have the opportunity to run an organization or what. I always tell people it's easy to impress people from the stage, but you impact people when you get off the stage. When you're on the stage, listen, you got your notes. You already know what you're going to talk about. You've got it all planned. You've practiced this thing, so you're going to look good, right? But when you get off the stage, what's it look like then? See, I know that I know what people learn from listening to you. That's why I tell my team, I know what, people learn by listening to you, but what do they learn by watching you? See, that's what I want. See, what I've learned many, many years ago, there's far more caught than taught. And so that's the key. What if you had to train your team and you couldn't speak? You couldn't use words. So now we're going to zero in on this leadership.
Yes.
That's the key. And so that's really what it is. But sometimes, and just to simplify it, because many times people think, oh, I can't be a leader. I don't know enough. I don't have the position. But that's just not true. And I want people to realize that, listen, we're all leaders. The question is, who are we leading and where are we leading them? So we're all leading somebody. And you know why? Because there's somebody watching all of us. There's always somebody watching us. And a lot of the time, we don't know who they are. We don't know who's watching us. The ones we think are watching us aren't, and the ones that we don't think are watching us are, And so it's very, very interesting just to see how that goes. So that's really vital for us to get that. But what I want people to realize is that everybody can be a leader and make a positive impact. And so, and I think that just comes from realizing that when you think about a leader, by the way, another idea of what a leader is. A leader is just a person who's one step ahead of the person behind them.
True.
Yeah, that's it.
True.
They take the step and say, hey, this is good. You can come.
True.
Take 3 more steps. Hey, this is good. You can come. Right. But the thing is, they go first. They do it. And then they say, come with me. It's reaching out the hand here. Let me help you to get to where I am. And when I get to the next space, I'll drop down a hand and lift you up to where I am again. And that's where great joy comes in, great satisfaction comes in. And that's where great impact comes in. And because the idea isn't, I tell people, never do anything for your team, but teach them how to do what you do. Don't tell them what to do, teach them how to do it. See, because if you do it and you don't teach them, then guess what? You have to do it for the rest of your life. But if you can teach them, listen, this is what I do, this is how I do it. Now they can come along. See, my strategy here is I do it, whatever the task is, whatever the project is, I do it, they watch. And I just do that. And then I may give them like a small part. And this is the developing a leader of leaders, right? And so then what I'll do is I say, okay, you take part of it, just a small part that they have watched over and over again, right? Okay, now you do this, and then I'll do the rest. And then they do it. Great job. And no matter how it is, great job, because they did it. Whether they did it good or bad, they did it. See? And then we just keep going. And so pretty soon I give them a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then pretty soon they do it and I watch. See,
yeah, but what? No, go ahead. I have a follow-up to that, but go ahead.
Okay, so they do it and I watch. And then see, that's when the refining process really becomes. Okay, now they do it and I'm watching. I said, okay, that was great, but next time maybe try a little bit of this. Try it this way. If you did this first and then this, things might flow a little bit better for you. See, so in other words, now I can coach them, okay, and until they get it. And the goal is in developing leaders of leaders is I want them to know what I know and do what I do. If they know what I know and they can do what I do, I don't have to do it anymore.
Are you a leader of leaders, and are you developing leaders? We're going to continue the conversation, but we must take a break and get a word from our partners. We'll be right back.
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives.
You can't live your best life without a healthy immune system. Boost your immune system the delicious way with Zappy's organic juices and punches. Made from local produce with zero added sugar, our juices cleanse and revitalize your body as they boost your natural immunity. Try our delicious flavors: Beat It, Berry Bomb, Get Fresh, Ton Up, and Island Splash. Find us on Instagram at Zappy's Organics, or call or send a WhatsApp message at 1-876-779-8910 to order today. That's 1-876-779-8910. Zappy's Organic Juices and Punches. Live your best life today.
Is that true?
Langdo Language Institute was created to meet your language and communication needs. All of our packages were created just for you. We are passionate about language and dedicated to your success. We offer the CSEC English program, the Study Buddy program, the Get Ahead with English program, and the Business Communication program. Contact us at 767-285-0938 or email us at langdolanguage@gmail.com, because the real question is, how can we help you?
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and
Leaders are not just people in positions as people think all the time. Once it is that you have your own circle where you have some amount of influence, you are a leader. Let's continue the conversation. What if it is that if you're in a space and you've been trying to do that, all of what you just said, but for whatever reason you don't think that's happening, what then? For
Well, I
example, you
mean,
think you demonstrate it or you give suggestions in terms of why not try this, why not try that? And you're getting to the point where you think you're running out of options in terms of what to tell them. What then?
well, I mean, people have to perform, there's always, the cutting process, they draft 100 and keep 50,
Okay.
you know, uh, and it's just part of the deal. And it could just be that this isn't for them. This isn't a fit for them. Maybe we're a fit for them, but they're not a fit for us. Maybe they're a fit for us, but we're not a fit for them and what they want according to their purpose, their dream. And so that's real important. And Noreen, it's real important for people to realize it, especially leaders who are trying to develop leaders. If somebody isn't cutting it, if somebody isn't making it happen, you're actually doing them a favor by dismissing them or putting them in a different department. Because if somebody isn't succeeding, that's not a good feeling. Nobody looks forward to going to work to do something that's not going to work well. So you actually do them a favor by saying, something, maybe you would be better suited in this department or in another area, because I don't think this is a fit for you. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, you're leaving them with their dignity. You always want to leave people with their dignity. And so that works very, very well. And then once they do learn it, then the challenge comes where you give them a responsibility. Said, okay, now I showed you, and you develop the skills. Now, what I want you to do is I want to make sure that you're showing somebody else and helping them develop the skills. That's the key. Whether they use it in this position or another position, but we want to help people to develop those different skills. Right?
Do you think though, in your experience of how you've related to your team of hundreds of thousands, do you find a difference in terms of gender or do you think that there's some principles that just transcend the genders?
The principles work for every gender.
Okay.
And something and I tell you something, probably the majority of the people in my team are women. And some of the most successful people on my team are women. Okay. But I mean, it's that's the beauty about principles. Principles override every background, education, knowledge, experience, culture, religion, everything. Because principles are just principles. The only thing a principle needs to do is be applied, and they don't care who applies it. But you can have wicked people apply good principles, and guess what? It's going to work for them. I mean, we hate to see it sometimes, but principles are just principles. They're mute, and so that's the beauty about it, and that's why I say everybody can be a leader, everybody can grow, because once you learn to develop and follow principles, live a principle-driven life and not a pleasure-driven life, a principle-driven life will give you far more pleasure. And so that's what really makes a huge difference. And that's really what we want to do. And that's open for everybody. That's what I love. That's how I could build such a big team. Listen, most of my people didn't start out successful people. I didn't pull them out of the successful pot. You know the kind of people I got that it worked for the best? I'll tell you, there's two characteristics. And you can't do better than these two characteristics. Number one, they had a strong desire. They had a desire. They wanted something. They wanted to improve. They wanted to get better. They wanted to accomplish something. It's the desire. See, you can't teach desire. You either got it or you don't.
Or you don't.
So if they got desire, that's the first quality, right? The second quality is work habits. If they've got the desire and they got the work habits, I will equip them with the principles and the tools to do whatever they want, whether they work for me or somebody else. It doesn't make any difference. Say, that's the beauty about dealing with principles and purpose, because a purpose-driven life, following the principles of life, nothing is going to beat that. And anybody can do that. That's what's so amazing. That's what makes America great, is that, it had that opportunity. With all the faults and everything. Listen, people aren't strolling across our borders because they're trying to get into prison. Man, they're coming here to get freedom, not prison. You know what I mean? And so
that's true.
It's wonderful.
That's true. As we're wrapping up, though, what then, if you had to just encapsulate all of what you just said into a 3-step process of how to develop a leader of leaders, what would that 3-step process be?
Well, I think it's, let's see, for 3 steps. I mean, really, it's the helping them to understand their purpose, and then equipping them to do what they want to do, and then giving them the responsibility to do it. There's sometimes I've had people, I said, okay, you're going to do this training. And they said, no, not me. Oh, no. And I say, because that's because I believe in them more than they believe in them. And so that's a huge part in developing leaders, giving them the responsibility. Now, here's the key. When I give them a responsibility, I also give them, along with that, the authority to do what's necessary to make that happen, so long as it stays within our principles. See? And it works, because ultimately, they only need to know 3 things. They need to know what to do next, why it's important, and then how to take the resources that I have available to solve the problems at hand. That's it. See, and if I know those 3 things, then I can become a leader of leaders. Let me close with one little illustration, and it'll clarify it. There's a charter airplane going from New York down to Brazil. And it's filled with, they're going down for a huge industrial convention. There's CEOs, CFOs, entrepreneurs, founders of companies, and, all wearing the Brooks Brothers suits and all this stuff. It's Armani and all that kind of stuff. They're all there. But one of the guys who was going on this conference had a native from a tribe down in Brazil, jungle. And he just said, listen, can he, jump on this flight and come down with us? They said, yeah, sure, not a problem, right? So he gets on. Of course, he's not no Brooks Brothers suit. He's just, in his regular old clothes and stuff like that. But the plane crashes in the jungle just near the airport where this guy is from. Fortunately, everybody survives, right? But they're in the middle of the jungle, in the middle of nowhere. Who on that plane knows what to do next? Who knows why it's important? And who can take the resources available to solve the problems at hand? So who's the leader on the plane? That answers it.
Thanks. Some excellent note to end on. Thanks so much for sharing, Dennis.
Thank you, Noreen. Thanks for having me.
This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Sisters and brothers,